The left and morality do not go hand in hand. If you are moral, you are not of the left. There's been a shooting in North Carolina and another shooting in Michigan. And it has nothing to do with the right side of the political spectrum. I'm MC Too Tall, and you're watching the MC Too Tall Show. Let's go.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule cause you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, cause I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast, and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts, and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring, and George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
You're watching the MC Too Tall Show. I am your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host who is never gross, MC Too Tall. Our story takes place in Southport Yacht Basin. It's a seaport, marine-themed town just 30 miles south of Wilmington, North Carolina. A gunman, 39-year-old Nigel Edge, opens fire on a restaurant called the American Fish Company. He hits 8 people in total, 3 of which are now dead. And this man is said to be a war veteran suffering from PTSD. He's said to have filed multiple lawsuits in the past on the state of North Carolina, his local church, the LGBT community, claiming that the LGBT community in his town and the state of North Carolina and his local church collaborated with white supremacist groups to kill him because he is a straight white man. And I blame the Democrats for this. This isn't the both sides issue. Has no legs in this one either. They cannot point from the left to this and say this is coming from both sides. It's not coming from both sides. It's a leftist issue again. They go out of their way to enable the wackos so they could disable everyone, but still give the wackos an edge. No pun intended on the shooter's name. Now, this person had a sort-of AR-style rifle. May have been an AR-15. Sort of, with a silencer. And he just let loose on this restaurant, killing 3 people, 5 others left injured. And because he's not spewing out too many leftist talking points, right away they're going to say that this is the violence that comes from the right. Hey, let me tell you something. Even if they were right, this would be one incident out of many. You know, not just tens, not just dozens, but hundreds of cases in which political violence comes from the left, not the right. And so The left has no argument to this. And the left has no argument that this is a reason to outlaw the AR-15 rifle. Notice I called it an AR-15 rifle and not an assault weapon, because an assault weapon is a mythological name. I mean, if I pick up a spoon and bop you in the eye socket with it, it's going to hurt. And I will have committed assault with that spoon. And thus, by the rationale of calling this particular rifle an assault rifle, we could call this utensil an assault eating utensil. But that's the logic of the left for you. That's the logic of the left. And so this man is being held, and he's probably drugged up because of the Democrats. He's all shell-shocked because the Uniparty led by Republicans George W. Bush and Dick Cheney sent him to war where he didn't belong, to screw with his mind and make him acquire this PTSD that he had suffered from since coming back from the Iraq War. This was a man that was clearly mentally incapable of being a responsible adult with a firearm, but he still had access to a firearm. And now, because this wacko has access to a firearm, they're going to take it out on the responsible adults that responsibly use their AR-15s, which are way more than the handful of wackos out there that shouldn't be holding any type of firearm in the first place. I'm all for keeping guns out of the hands of wackos. But not everyone who owns an AR-15 is a wacko that's going to use it. In fact, many more people are responsible adults that own these types of weaponry. And I am completely against a completely unarmed citizenry. I've always said that. But you're going to have people that are so off kilt here, they're going to turn around and say that only police and military should own a firearm, period. And that's stupid. If that was the case, there wouldn't be a United States of America, because there'd be armed British troops in every house in the original 13 colonies, having their way with the people in those homes at gunpoint, because the people in those homes would be completely unarmed. The right to keep and bear arms is the right to keep and bear arms, and that's it. It's not limited to muskets. Me personally, if I had my way, I'd allow anybody who could afford a grenade launcher and an anti-aircraft missile to acquire even those. But that's just me. And I'm not running for the nation's highest office where I could put something like that in motion. I mean, if anything, in the near future, I may run for a little tiny congressional seat or a local legislative seat, because I know the law enough, just enough to hold such a seat. But who knows? I may change my mind and say, screw that. Let me not hold a government seat. You never know where the wind will take me, or the passing wind, if you will. So anyway, of course, they're going to blame Not the user of the gun, but the gun itself. And my argument is anything can be made into a weapon. Not only can it be made into a weapon, but it could be made into a weapon of mass destruction. Anything. Period. And so, you might as well let the responsible adults with their guns keep their guns so they could defend themselves against the wackos that the Democrats allow to have their guns. People will say, well, Donald Trump was almost killed by someone with a gun. And someone with a gun came along and picked off the assailant and saved Donald Trump's life. So don't give me that. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. And this goes for another part of the country, in Michigan. They're saying today, the LDS, there's an LDS church in Michigan. Again, Michigan, where the guns laws are much tighter. There was a shootout there, and as much as I believe the Mormon Church not to be a denomination of Christianity, I don't believe in killing human beings during their practice of worship of whatever they're worshiping. So, no, I don't condone attacking the LDS Church. I might not believe they should have the same legitimacy as any other church, but I don't believe in physically attacking them with weaponry and stuff. So the story in Michigan is just unfolding, and let's see where we're going with that. What we're finding out with the Michigan one is that it took place in the LDS Church at a small town in Michigan, and according to this here, at least one person lies dead, 9 others injured, including children among them, in a mass shooting in a place called, if I can pronounce this right, Grand Blanc Township. The Grand Blanc Township Mormon Church. And like I said, that's a small, lazy town in Michigan where this took place. And not only was there a shootout, but I believe the shooter set fire to the church. And people started fleeing the burning building. And they said it's a 40-year-old man from the nearby county of Burton. He rammed his truck, which had 2 American flags in the bed, through the front doors of the church about, say, 10:25, 10:30 in the morning, and then just started opening fire on the parishioners, just letting loose with his rifle. They don't say what kind of rifle he had. I'm sure they're going to claim it was either an AR-15 or an AK-47. They didn't name the suspect, but they know he's a 40-year-old man. I don't know why they're hiding his identity, but they are. And again, it's more political violence taking place because of the Democrats. And you could dress it up with American flags. You could even put MAGA hats on it. As we come to find Christopher Wray's FBI sent plants in amongst the protesters on January 6th. So you could even put a MAGA hat on a lefty and make them do their violent, violent lefty shit, and it's still coming from the left, no matter how you dress it. So this person's a plant, and I believe this Nigel Edge in North Carolina may also be a plant. And so now we got two mass shootings, two different parts of the country, and I'm not claiming either one. Nobody from the right should claim either one. I condemn what these non-right-wing people are doing that are posing as right-wing people. That's how I condemn it. I'm not going to say, well, they're from the right, and that's not what we represent. I condemn it because the right isn't about doing shit like that. These people are obviously plants from the left. When a right person does it, they're not really a right-wing person. They are a plant of the left wing. When a left-wing person does it, they are full supportive of the left wing. Political violence is on the rise because of the Democrats. Crime runs rampant and has been running rampant because of the Democrats. Sick ideology, indoctrination also runs rampant because of the Democrats. You culminate this, you put this all together, and it's one big, hot, deadly mess because of the Democrats. And the Democrats, and I'll say it again and again and again and again, are not the Democrats of old. These are not your Walter Mondales, your Edmund Muskies, your Hubert Humphreys anymore. Not even George McGovern, who was a radical in his time, would recognize today's Democrat Party. He would look upon people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the Squad, and say, hey guys, you're taking it too far. And yes, George McGovern in this day and age would be labeled by today's Democratic Party all the Nazi rhetoric that they like to call Donald Trump. And George McGovern was pretty radical, as I said before. So that's pretty bad, folks. That's pretty bad. I mean, Jimmy Walker, former mayor of New York, late former mayor of New York, he would be considered a right-wing capitalist amongst today's Democrats. And that's where this party's heading. This party is headed to hell in a handbag. And this violence, I don't blame anyone on the right from it. I don't blame the guns, and I don't blame the right. This is violence. It's appalling. I condemn it, but I don't blame the right or the right to keep and bear arms for it. This comes from the left. They send plants to display what horrors can be done with these weapons so that these weapons can be outlawed. These mass shootings are all psyops to take the guns out of the hands of the responsible adults who own these types of weapons. That's why I always say, watch out for the Illuminati, folks. That's why I say all the time, watch out for the Illuminati. I'm going to leave it at that. I think I've made my point. I've driven my point home. Logical people would agree with me. Reasonable people will agree with me. If you're on the righteous side of this country's future, you would agree with me. If you're not, you'd be one of these soft cakes that say, let's cool the temperature on both sides. And you'd be stupid to say that. Let's curb the left. Let's call the left for what they are and who they are. And let's do something about what they're causing. In the meantime, respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Like, follow, share, comment, subscribe. Stay strong. Keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero. Your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host that is never gross, MC Too Tall. You be safe out there.